I don't think these are actually meant to be worn. Okay, let's remove this. Oh. Hey friends! As you can see by the glorious title on this video, I'm going to be talking about my favorite manga today. If you don't know what manga is, it's basically just Japanese comics. Yes. A lot of people know what anime is and then they don't know what manga is, but that's why I'm here, because I believe that is a crime. A crime for these beautiful pieces of work that we're all missing out on, but not me, because I love manga. A lot of you have probably heard of the manga that I'm going to talk about, but you've heard it or watched it as an anime, and I want to change that. This is sort of like how people are like, oh, the book is better than the movie, like when the book is made into a movie. But what people don't realize is that like pretty much every movie out there is based off of some type of book or comic. Like the same thing goes for anime. If it's like a super action-y thing, it's sometimes nice to see it as an anime, but the reason why this is important is because like as someone who wants to write comics and like turn them into something else, or like write novels and turn them into something else, there's like a certain amount of detail added and like realness in a character that's different in a manga than an anime. So, and I know I sound like a giant nerd, but I don't care, it's just gonna happen anyway. I can't deny it. If you like this type of video, please tell me down below so I know that you want to see another video like this, because there's plenty of things I could recommend. I'm just going through my very top favorites that I know you guys probably already know. Yeah. The first series I want to talk about is Fullmetal Alchemist, and a lot of people have seen that anime, but I don't know how many people have really read the manga, and this one's different than the others in that basically all of what's in the series was very well adapted, because I don't know if it was because it was in the thousands, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like as recent. Because I feel like sometimes now it's like way more fast paced, like they don't get into the characters and like show every step of the way sometimes due to money. But I have the first and the last right here, and this author is pretty amazing. So I think what's really unique about manga is that you're seeing directly how it was supposed to be drawn. You're seeing like dialogue directly from the author and how they're supposed to be behaving. Like there's no translation between, well no, there's translation like literally, but there's no like distortion of their personalities. They're always going to be on character if they are written that way. And this is something that states like pretty much every character is important, which is the best part of any story. Basically, I started reading this when I was like 11, so I've always been reading manga. This is like one of my favorite pages. What's really great about this author is that she's pretty amazing at detail and drawing her characters and expressions. Like if you look at what's inside here, there's improvements. I'm not gonna spoil that. There's obviously improvements, and like the characters are really well developed by the end. They totally change by the end. She's really consistent in her storytelling, and she's consistent to like what logically makes sense. So even if it's not like a realistic story, you can see it with a realistic view, I guess. I don't know how to explain that, but I hopefully you understand. I'm not gonna talk too much about this because I feel like the anime Brotherhood does a really good job like explaining it, but people think like, oh, I'll just look up Fullmetal Alchemist and watch it. And then they watch the original version, which was being created while these were still being written. Like this one was not out yet, the last one. So there's differences. I mean, both of them are good. The anime this is the thing, they're still good, they're just fucking incredible if you read them. Okay, this is the second one I'm going to talk about, which you probably have heard of as well and watched. It's just Black Butler. Everybody watches this anime, and it just hurts my heart to know that they haven't read the manga. Like, if you haven't read the manga, you were doing a disservice to Yana, this author. The amount of detail is painful thinking about trying to draw this. Like, she puts effort in every page, even ones that are like super emotional like this. There's still a ton of panels. Like, the average panel amount for comics and manga is like 5 to 7, and she's always like filling everything. Let's face it, it's beautiful. If this is the very first volume in a series, and this is like how much detail and like how good at drawing she already is, like she's going for it. Like, damn. You know the whole thing is just gonna get even more beautiful as it goes. I have art books from all these people because I think that is just half the fun. Basically, the main thing about Black Butler, you guys have probably seen in the anime, is the costuming. I feel like it's a little bit more detailed in the manga, and like she's actually studied. She talks about it at the end of every one. It's like a silly mini episode thing that she's like actually researched what she's drawing, so it pays off. Ta-da! One of the cheesiest parts. Do you see that? I have no idea if you can see this. There's a giant dog paw print scratch. Yes, thank you, Sam. Okay, the thing about this though is, like, if you really love Black Butler, this goes for many things, but I'm saying this particularly to this also. Not just the drawings, which are already enough of a reason to go read the manga instead of watching the anime only, but you learn so much about the characters that are not in anything else, because you hear their thoughts. Like, that's the main part of why manga is better, because you can read what they're thinking a little bit better than otherwise, because in an anime they're moving so fast they don't like always stop and make them like think out loud for the audience in a way. Like, Sebastian is a way more developed character than you'd ever believe, because in the anime it makes it seem like Ciel is the main character. And then the final precious angel is Tokyo Ghoul. Let's see. I would have died. Ishida, this is their first manga, like, that they've drawn too. Well, I mean, they drew like a silly, goofy comic before. It's called like Penis Man, I think. It's like a superhero penis. It was a joke, but I think it's great. Everyone started watching this anime, I don't know how many years ago was that now, like 2 or 3 years ago, and I actually found it through the anime. I was like immediately like, wow, I need to read this because I could relate to it so hardcore. If you guys want me to talk about that, I think I should make a whole other video, but I'll basically describe why this is good and stay on topic and not gush about Tokyo Ghoul. Oh wow, the sun just came out. So for stuff like Tokyo Ghoul that is like gore related, you're always going to have a better product when you read it, because there's so much censorship in anime. We have like different rules on what should be censored or not, basically, and they're a little bit like stricter around violence, and we're a little bit stricter around sex. So they're sort of different in that way. Okay, but the anime, let me tell you, I loved the first season. I watched it every week as it came out when it first came out, and I read the entire manga, and I'm reading and I'm still not bored of it, like years later. It is like literally the best thing I've ever read. Kaneki is really undersold in the anime, I'd say. Like, people think like, oh, he's so whiny and stuff, but in the manga he's not whiny. He's like trying to fix his life, and he has all these thoughts and he's actually like ridiculously smart, and like all the characters matter and there's tons of characters, and Ishida does crazy drawings that are way more intense and emotional and disturbing to the point where like whatever you're reading will stay with you for weeks. I've hardly ever been emotional about anything. This is like what gets me. And the anime is good, but after the first season it totally strays from the manga and makes me sad because this is such a masterpiece. And I think that Ishida was involved with the second season, and if you've watched it, I'll just briefly tell you, I feel like Ishida just wanted to try out what would have happened if it went that route. Like that season, without spoiling anything, goes the exact opposite way of the manga, and it ends up somewhat in the same spot. I feel like Ishida is like commenting on fate in a way by having it go differently. But that being said, I love the original version and it makes a lot more sense, and Kaneki isn't some weird silent freak the entire time. I could keep going, like I have more. Well, just one last one. I know you all love Attack on Titan. You're missing out on like 50% of the brutality of it by not reading the manga. Like if that is why you like Attack on Titan, you're missing out like entirely. It is so brutal. It is like disturbing. The drawings are also amazing. Like all these people, they're ridiculous at how well they can do all of this. Okay, just look at this beauty. Okay, like oftentimes the mangakas, that's like the author, they basically take photos and they like put a half tone over it so that it looks like the background is drawn, but it's not. But Kajime draws it and it's ridiculous. And the Titans are just as freaky. Like the animation is really good. Like they did it justice for sure. I'm not saying the anime for any of this is bad. It's just that the manga shows you so much that you're missing out on, and this does not fall short. If you guys want tips on like how to buy these, I'll just briefly say buy them in bulk and it saves a lot of money, and you're helping the creator, you're showing the publisher that people want more, especially if you're in another country. Like if it gets popular worldwide, that's like a business opportunity for them. So it does help if you buy it and don't illegally read it online. I'm looking at you. Well, okay, this is talking about if you have money to buy it. As a comic author, I know that would be appreciated. So yeah, the clouds the sun officially interrupted out from the clouds, which means this video should probably end. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up because it lets me know that you liked it, and comment down below asking anything else. If you want me to talk more about any certain manga, you can ask me to review it or something. I don't mind doing that. That can be like another thing that we all share together. So I hope you have a great day. Goodbye.